Good morning. It is Monday morning, President's Day, February 19th, I think. And I am going to be joined in a second by Amanda from Pottery. And we're just going to chat and work in our studios a little bit. She is about to hop on, so I'm going to get her in. See. Always takes. There you go.
Oh, hi.
Hey, how you doing?
Good. How are you?
Good.
I was like, oh, why is this taking so
I know.
long?
I always feel like when I try to accept someone onto a live, I have to push it like multiple times, but I know I just need to like wait until they get on.
Let it happen. All right. I'm like slowly adjusting myself. How's it going?
Yeah, I messaged Amanda last night and was like, "Are you gonna be in your studio tomorrow?" She said, "Yeah, maybe at like 8:30." And I was like, "Well, I'm not gonna be awake yet." So
Really?
how about night?
Really lofty goals on my part. Did
It's
not
always
happen.
better to like be ambitious.
Did not happen at 8:30. I stayed up way too late reading a really good book.
Me too. I am like so tired. I stayed up until 1 because I was like, "There's no school tomorrow."
Right. There's no school tomorrow, and then I was like, oh, but I still have a child tomorrow.
Yeah. Luckily, my husband's off work today, so I got lucky. I think you might be frozen, but I'm just gonna keep chatting. Yeah, I stayed up until 1 reading also, and it was the thing where like my book wasn't that long on my Kindle, and I was like, well, I only have like 70. I'm at 75%. Here, I'm gonna see if I can get Amanda back in real quick. Something. There we go.
Technology feels the way that we do this morning, apparently.
It's all good. All right, so we've never met before and we've never talked before, and I don't know anything about you. So you're I will say I thought that you were Potts AF, not realizing that you were using your initials, and I just thought you were like Potts AF, and I was like, that's cool.
I won the lottery when I married my husband and got really great initials. No, so I used to teach middle school for like a long time, and when I got married, I didn't even realize that like those were going to be my initials, and all of my students were like, oh. And then like 7 years, it was the running joke of like,
Yeah.
those are my initials. And so when I started this, I was like, obviously.
Yeah. Oh yeah, you have to use them. That's perfect. I love that. That's so funny.
We will go in. Yeah. They are my initials.
I love it. What did you teach middle school?
So it's funny, I taught history for a little bit. And then I actually taught art.
Oh, nice.
For a while. Yeah. And that's how I started doing pottery, because, I had a wheel and I had this funder who was like, carte blanche, go buy whatever you want at the clay store. And I was like, I should learn how to do this, because like I should learn how to do this, right? And so yeah, that ended up being like how I started this. And then COVID hit and I had a tiny human and childcare was not viable. I know. I don't know. Over here it was like they were like, oh, there's a case of COVID in the classroom, and so we're gonna close the preschool classroom for 2 weeks. And it was like that.
Never.
I can't
Again. Yeah, right. Yeah.
Can't do that.
No,
so I ended up staying home and then starting this, and I'm lucky I have a very supportive spouse who loves a project. So he was like, oh, I can go buy a used kiln and rebuild it by myself. Have fun.
Amazing. I love that.
Enjoy that life, dude. I was like, I do not want to drive across the state to get a used kiln, but he thought this was a lot of fun. That's right.
Amazing. I love that. So, I just want to say good morning, Sharon. Thanks for hopping on with us. Okay, so you started when you were in the classroom as an art teacher in middle school. You stayed you quit your job after COVID started, and now are you like full-time artist, or is this still kind of like a part-time?
I mean, I'm like a full-time
Yeah, me
parent.
too.
So
Yeah.
like, you know, I'm a
But
full-time parent.
we could say full-time very like loosely, because like I am not a full-time artist. Like it's not like I make a ton of money doing this. It's really a passion project. But
Yeah.
at the same time, like I'm doing this every single day.
Right.
So
So, and I know
kind of
how old are your kids?
5 and 3.
Okay, yeah. Right. Like, so my child is about to turn 5, and like,
It's a full-time job. Yeah, I've got one home with me all day, every day. We're back and forth to school drop off, and it's I've got all that. But on top of it, I'm also doing all this. So like,
right.
I get asked a lot, like, is this your full-time job? And it's like, well, no, but also like, kind of.
I also just, every time someone's like, is this your full-time job? I want to be like, every time you ask like a parent, is this your full-time job? I want to be like, I
That's
mean, because like
usually what I say. I'm a full-time parent because I
yeah,
am.
yeah. And like, look, my husband has a full-time job that,
Yeah,
right? I get to do this because he carries the health insurance.
totally. 100%. I am like so lucky to have a supportive spouse that
Yeah,
who's just like, yeah, do it, do your thing, stay home, be
yeah.
with our kids, and yeah.
But it's also like, I mean, the number of times that he has to be like, oh, sorry, we have to juggle X, Y, and Z, and like it is sorry,
Yeah.
I would not be able to be at that meeting, right? Like it just,
Yeah.
I don't know. Being a
Yeah.
parent definitely comes first, but this is yes, I do this every day, sometimes well into the evening hour.
For some reason, so part of why I want to start doing these lives in the mornings on some days is because like I am not a morning person and I am like a night worker. So I sometimes won't even get on my wheel until 8 o'clock at night, and then I'm down here until 10:30 or 11. And like I get a lot done, and I can just like let stuff dry overnight and come in the next morning, like on the weekend. But also like that's not like the best practice.
I mean, the number of times that I like my alarm goes off and I'm like, ooh, do like do I start the coffee pot or do I go wire off the nuts that I last? Real,
Yeah.
real problem. It's a real
No,
problem.
I know. So you have a studio at your home?
It is in my we are in my third bedroom. Sort of.
I'm also in our like guest room in our basement.
Yeah. So this is our third bedroom, which has had many iterations over the years. But we did some house renovations over the last summer, and we fully committed to like this is a studio. Like we got rid of the ceiling fan and put in just
Yeah.
can lights, and the closet doesn't have closet doors because
Me too. I literally took my closet doors off. Yeah.
well, because if they were on, they would have interrupted my wheel
Totally.
priorities.
Yeah.
It was like I can add those back on later.
Yeah. Mine are still in the closet. I just have like lots of shelves so I can have my drying racks and everything.
Right. It's also a really great drying rack spot.
Oh yeah. Yeah, for sure.
See, but I still haven't gotten to the point where like the closet is fully mine. Like it still has these.
Yeah. Oh no, I went on a rampage at some point. I think it was like I got my wheel at home. I think it was, let's say, like somewhere in early fall of 2021.
Okay.
And so before that, like maybe in the summer, because my husband had been pushing me to get my own wheel and like do my own studio. And I was like, no, that's crazy. Like, what are you talking about? Also, I had an infant. I'm like, when am I going to have time to do this? No. And then finally I was like, okay, yeah, I'll do it. And so I just like, I ripped out all the carpet in this room. Like, I just like we sold the bed, we gave the bed away. Like, I was like, no, I'm done. So I have some like, I'm a lifelong like crafter and craft supply hoarder. So I do have a bunch of craft supplies on like one part of the closet, but no, I was just like, everything goes. It's all out.
So proud of myself when I got rid of a bunch of crafting stuff because I was like, I'm never going to do this.
Mm-hmm.
It's not going to happen. I also was very positive that I was going to have a girl. Did not. And so like before I was even pregnant, there was this like great fabric on sale and I bought a ton of it.
Oh, I have
It's like hot pink.
Gosh.
my like Lego Batman loving child is like,
Nice.
oh, finally, the kid is about to turn 5. I just got rid of it. Like, in the last month, I was like, all right.
No. You could have had to make like a present, or somebody else could have been in like a pink fabric emergency.
Right. I know. All of the things that I'm like, really, we can really get rid of it now.
Yeah.
I know. It's so bad. But yeah, so you got your wheel at home in 2021.
Yeah, and then I got my kiln a year later.
Okay.
And
where were you firing? How did you solve that
so
problem?
I have a community studio that I still go to. I have to be honest, I don't glaze fire at home. I have not like gone into glaze besides like a couple little things. I'm so scared of it. I need to take like a good glaze chemistry course.
Wait, tell me more. What do you mean you're so scared of it?
I am afraid. I don't know how to mix a commercial glaze, which I know I could learn very easily. I have some brush on glazes that I have done before, but they haven't been a good fit for my clay. Like I've tested them and they're just not. And beyond that, I know like a lot of like basics of glazing, but not to the point where I like know anything. And so because I use just kind of the same like 4 glazes over and over again that are in huge gallon buckets 20 minutes down the road, I can go like once a month and just like, because I'll wax everything at home and I'll do my underglazes and my stencils and everything is ready and I just boop, 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 boop and glaze it there. That has been a goal of mine to glaze at home for like 2 years and I haven't gotten there yet. So
the glaze fit problem is real.
Yeah. And because I'm selling my work so rapidly, especially in the second part of the year, I don't have time to like make a full kiln load worth of stuff and try out glazes on it. Because like it's one thing to do test tiles, but
I don't do test tiles anymore. I don't bother. Here's the thing. I just glaze a dummy cup.
Well, yeah,
because I was glazing test tiles, and I don't know if other people will agree with this or not, but I was glazing test tiles, and I'd be like, "Oh, this test tile is lovely. Let me glaze 20 mugs with it."
Yeah,
and then I would lose 20 mugs.
Yeah. No, and that's kind of the point where I am too, because like, yeah, okay, a little test tile looks fine. But yeah, you go on and you do a bunch of stuff and then none of it is right. And the other thing too is I just don't really have the space to have a bunch of like 5-gallon buckets of dipping glaze, but I don't have the time to brush on glaze.
Right.
Like we were just talking about, I have 2 little kids and like I'm just like, I don't have time to sit there and do that. So I'm in this kind of like, what
I feel like I have, so I mean, you can see behind me kind of like all of my glazes. I have a bunch of kind of brush on stuff, and then I have that whole table is like that's my glaze table. So I have all of my like underglazes over there or whatever. Which also just, I was very used to one price, and then I went after COVID to go get them, and I was like, you want what?
Yeah.
But yeah, I feel like, I mean, I have probably a stack of glazes in my closet that I tried, and I keep saying it's actually on one of those little yellow Post-its over there, which are my to-dos. I'm like, I need to go through and sell stuff.
Yeah.
But I have I have 3 technically. One of them needs some help.
Yeah.
But I have 2 dipping glazes that I have they're in 3-gallon buckets. They're in 3. Because I do not have a community studio that like has glazes that I love.
Yeah. Yeah. So what is your like pottery community situation down there? If you're like not really going to a community studio and like anything, like what do you have?
So it's funny. So I'm in Tampa, which is 40 minutes from St. Pete, which if you're a parent is just long enough that it's like, I don't actually want to go there all the time. Right. So but I do actually go to, so the St. Pete pottery community is like massive and very established. And there's like, it's so funny. There's the kind of like, I don't want to say good old boys club, but it right, like they're the people that they're in ceramics monthly, and like they've been doing it in St. Pete for a long time. And then there's sort of this newer generation. Ironically, the newer generation is almost entirely female, and which I like, love the girl boss situation happening. And there are a lot of really great like little studios kind of in St. Pete. In Tampa,
Yeah. All right. So we've got to get you like a good online pottery community.
Yeah, well, and it's funny too. My husband and I keep joking that like one day we'll find real estate that's affordable, and we're just gonna like take the plunge, because surely there are other people in Tampa who like want to do pottery. And I was there for a long time, and actually this is how we ended up moving everything to my house, was Tampa Parks and Rec Department runs community studios. The wait list is like 8 months long.
I feel like pottery has really popped off lately. Like so many people are trying it, which is awesome. But yeah, the wait lists.
Yeah, I mean, I'm here for it. But it's like 8 months long. It's done on like a loose leaf piece, like a legal pad. Right? Each one is just different. And like props to them. Like they really do manage it well. But they don't, when COVID started, they stopped doing open studio hours. So it's not like I could be like, I'm gonna go over and whatever, right? And then predictably too, like, you know, they would close. Like I'd get an email at 1, your class at 3 is canceled because everyone is sick. And I'd be like, what is happening to everything that I've worked on, right? So I'm pretty sure I like had a meltdown, and my husband was like, how much is a wheel really? Like,
well, really, I was talking to a friend recently who was like debating, like, should I get a wheel? Like, should I get this? And I was like, well, let's think about it this way. Like X amount of months of classes is going to cost you this much. A wheel is going to cost you, let's say, $1,500. So are you going to use your wheel as much as you would use coming to classes, whatever? And they're like, oh yeah. Like I'm always going to tell people you should get a wheel, but like it does snowball quickly and it is a commitment. So like it's not quite fit for everybody, but
one day we were buying a wheel, and then the next week we were driving to Jacksonville with a trailer to buy 3 kilns off of auction, hoping that one of them would work.
No, totally. Yeah. No, I know. It's like I've got a slab roller, I've got a kiln, I've got my wheel. I have so much reclaim that I need to get through, which is just a whole thing. Are you going to NCECA?
I'm not, because yours truly, who also thought she was going to be in the studio at 8:30 this morning. I like didn't even put it on my calendar, which means that I didn't like arrange.
Anything. I know. Well, so that's the one thing. I heard that a lot of the companies bring slab rollers and wheels and kilns and whatever. It's in Richmond. I live in Maryland, so I'm driving down with my car. And so the one thing that like I don't really need any equipment and I don't need this, but I'm like, if they have pug mills, that is one thing, because I've heard, and this is all like, you know, what I have no idea if this is true, but that they try to like sell them at the end of the conference for a discounted price because they don't want to take stuff home with them. So I'm like,
heard that too.
Yeah.
I mean, a pug mill would be like just a dream. I committed myself in the last like month. I told myself that I was not going to open a new bag of clay.
I've been trying. The only time I will open clay is if I'm doing slab rolling, because I don't want to like wedge clay and bang it out. That's already like wedged up. Otherwise, I've been doing a pretty good job, but I still have at least like 3 5-gallon buckets of clay that I need to.
Yeah.
So
I'm fine with that. I don't know. Okay. So
yeah. So
the Pottery.
Sharon, she goes to my studio with me. She asked what are the dates in Richmond. So I think it's a month from today that I'm getting there. I think it starts on the 20th, Wednesday through Saturday of March. And I'm getting there on Tuesday night, because there's like, you can register on Tuesday or on Wednesday and like get your pass and everything. But it's like a month from right now, basically.
need to just make sure that it's on my calendar next year, because
I think I saw that next year it might be in Salt Lake City. They like trade coasts.
You know what? But I've got to fly. I would have to fly to Richmond or Salt Lake City, but I weirdly would rather fly to Salt Lake City. I used to live in Pennsylvania, and I went to college in South Carolina. So I drove that through Richmond a lot.
Like, what is that, 95, like a million times?
Right.
Yeah.
And so now I'm like, I don't want to go.
If you're going to fly somewhere.
I just want to fly somewhere that I haven't had to go through 95.
Yeah.
So
I know. That sounds fun. Yeah, that'll be cool. I'm excited because it was supposed to be in Richmond in 2020, but obviously it got canceled. So now it's kind of a redo, because last year I think it was in Cleveland.
Yeah.
So East Coast. So they're doing double East Coast and then going back West Coast. And I've never been before. So I'm like really excited and also like really anxious. But I know a bunch of people that are going, so I think it's going to be fun.
I also feel like my experience with the pottery community has been that by and large, everyone is just very friendly.
Yeah.
I'm like very much just like, oh, yes, I'm happy to tell you how I do this. And I feel like part of that is because, like you were saying with like glaze fit, like I could tell you all of the glazes that I use, the dipping glazes, all of the stuff. But if you're not using the same clay that I'm using, the same firing spectrum that I'm using, like you're not trimming the same, so you're not burnishing your pieces the same. Like, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter.
No. Yeah.
Right. And so I always think that's so funny that people are like, "Oh, thanks for sharing." I'm like,
yeah, I mean, good luck. Hopefully it works for you.
Like,
obviously I'll tell you. But
I want it to work for you.
I know.
Because I want to feel like I want to feel like I'm not a one-trick pony. Right?
I know.
Much success in your endeavor.
Yeah, right.
It's like the Hunger Games, like just
the odds be in your favor. Yeah.
Works.
Yeah, I know.
You know?
I know, I do the same thing. Yeah, I'm happy to share. I love sharing information. And like I have been able to do stuff because other people have shared information with me. But also like I have said so many times to people, like, you just have to test it. You just have to try it. You just have to practice it, which is like the most annoying thing in the world to hear if you're an artist or you're like trying it, but like, it's so true, which is annoying, but.
Well, and it's, so I do have one woman who comes to my studio about once a week to throw, because she couldn't get off of the Tampa Parks and wait list. And I knew her through a friend of a friend or whatever. And the other day she was like lamenting to me of like how quickly I was throwing. And I was like, right, because you throw like 3 pounds a week. And understand that I'm on the last 200 pounds of 1,000 pounds that I bought 6 months ago. And like half of this I've thrown multiple times because I keep going through my replay. Yeah. Right? Like it's just a different. Yeah. And again, right? Throwing. I have I don't know about you, but like once my kid goes to sleep, it's like freedom. Like I'll do whatever. Yeah. Right? Yeah. And I know, and the other benefit of throwing at night, I'm gonna be the devil's advocate to continue throwing at night, is like I wake up and I look at pieces and I'm like, oof, that was not what I thought it was. Like in the light of day, that is not what I thought it was. To the reclaim it goes, right? But I feel like it's all just like it's practice. It's time.
Yeah. No, totally. I mean, back to throwing at night. For me, most of the time, I throw at night, I leave it uncovered, and this is on like a Friday night, Saturday night, and I come back Saturday morning, Sunday morning, and it's ready to trim, or it's almost ready to trim. So like, that's really nice. Like today, I think I'm gonna throw a few things this morning, and like, I might have to try and speed up the drying process so that I can trim it tonight. It's pretty dry, so like, stuff's gonna dry pretty fast right now. But like, I don't like that. That stresses me out. If I can throw it, set it down, and go to bed, then I'll just wake up in the morning and it's good to go.
Right. I get it. No. And you got to maximize those school hours.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Well, and I'm not there yet because I still have one at home. But like next year, I should have a couple hours in the morning every day, which will be crazy. I don't know what I'm going to do. It's going to be game on. Like
maybe that's when you'll play with glazes.
Yeah, that's true. I'll have some extra time to look at that stuff. I know. I keep saying it. It's been on like my bingo card for this year, but like I just have to suck it up and do it.
It's like I always just it's glazed roulette. I'm like,
yeah, I know.
You lose more than you
I
win.
know. And so like I just loaded a bisque kiln last night. It's running right now. I have not run a bisque kiln since the beginning of December. And I had a couple things that were like not quite, they were like a little off like after they dried. And like normally I don't fire that stuff, but this time I was like, you know what? It's like 2 or 3 things. I was like, I'm gonna fire it because I can use these as test pieces. You know, I'd much rather recycle my clay, but also like we were talking about, it's not the same making test tiles as it is like firing it on a full-on piece.
Yeah, it's well, and like there are things that you notice on a full-on piece.
Yeah.
Now
I just like how it pools or if it comes off the sides, and like sometimes I use texture and sometimes I don't. So even if I make a test tile with like a little bit of texture on it, that's not the same as a full piece. That's you know like one of these.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. I also you're the same kind of in the same boat of like functional stuff.
Yeah.
I like to run pieces through the dishwasher.
Me too.
And like
totally.
I want to know that it's gonna right.
Which is why like I know these glazes at the community studio where I go, they're like tried and true. They do that. There's not like the crazing. I know that it fits. I've done like absorbency testing and like it's good. So I'm just like, this feels safe. I should just stick with it.
Would they sell you?
I mean, it's commercial glaze. That's the thing. I know what glaze it is.
Oh.
But I'm still...
water is your friend.
Yeah, I'm still just like afraid of it. One of my friends from the studio, she got a kiln before I did. And she got the same glazes that we used and she mixed them up and she did it and she ruined every kiln shelf and every single piece. And it was just like horror story as I'm getting my kiln and I'm just like, uh-oh, maybe I won't.
That's traumatic.
I know it was. It was traumatic for all of us. I can't imagine how it was for her opening the kiln that day and seeing everything.
That's literally my nightmare.
I know. I've looked at the now my brain is not working. The kiln shelves where you can just like
the advancer ones.
Yes, yeah. They're so expensive though. And like I'm not doing it yet, so like I'm not spending money on that yet, you know.
Yeah, it's well, and it's funny because ever the supportive husband was like, these are so cool, you should do it. And I was like, but I don't use glazes that run.
Yeah.
If my style were to change and like I were to use glazes that ran, like that would be great.
I don't use glazes that run either. I'm just afraid.
Yeah.
You know. Someday I'll do it and I'll be really proud of myself, but
we're all gonna applaud you when you do it. Just know that there's like a whole really people that are gonna be cheering.
Yeah. I know. Yeah, and I'm always looking for content to post.
Wow.
So even if it's a fail.
Yeah. It's funny because I remember loading my first glaze kiln right before the Super Bowl last year.
Mm-hmm.
And we had a friend come over to watch. My husband and I are not into sports. So the fact that we had this, like that we figured out how to play the Super Bowl at our house was
it's a big deal. Yeah.
Impressive. It was impressive. Yeah. Right. So like the Super Bowl is on in the background. My friend has gotten to our house and she's like, oh, your kiln is done. You should open it. And I literally go and I open it and I immediately close it. And she's like, what's wrong? And I was like, I don't think I can handle it. Don't think so. So there's definitely a video of me unloading that kiln and like I'm sure you can see in the background I'm like crying because nothing came out the way that I thought it would. Yeah. And it was like, never mind.
Yeah.
Like, I don't think I ran another glaze kiln for like 3 months. Like it took me 3 more months to be like, I will glaze again.
Yeah.
It'll happen.
That's funny. Well, and you do a lot of like intricate like underglazing and painting and everything on your pieces. So losing something like that is a lot of time.
Yeah. It was also just like, you know, a poor understanding of glaze chemistry and why now glaze a single cup.
Yeah.
You know.
No, totally.
Valuable lesson.
I know.
I now understand shrinkage rates too.
Yeah.
Which, like, in the classroom, I feel like yeah, right.
Always.
In the classroom, I use low fire clay almost
Right.
exclusively, and I also feel like that's part of why I have like no fear about firing, is because like
you're throwing in unknown stuff from kids, like
right, like I'm like not just kids, but like middle schoolers who
yeah.
are developmentally incapable of following directions. Like it's like not their fault,
Yeah.
but they're like no glaze on the bottom. But
Let me just glaze it all
not?
up. Yeah.
Right. And yeah, but I didn't understand the difference between like how much something did not shrink at low fire to how much something would shrink at cone 6.
Yeah.
It just like didn't process. And working in a community studio where I was there once a week, you know, like I would throw 1 week, I would trim the next week, I would glaze the next week, and then I'd get it back. If I was lucky, there was a month between the time I threw it.
Totally.
And like, I had a 2-year-old. I didn't remember anything.
I know. No, I was totally in the same boat, same kind of schedule. And like, I don't think I would have like learned as much if I hadn't done that.
Yeah.
But really, once I was able to sit down and be repetitive in the things that I was making, that is when I really started to like see progress in what I was making.
Yeah.
But you know, there's a difference between like going and doing it because you love it and it's a hobby and it's fun and socializing. I mean, that was a big part of going to those classes. So we're just like shooting the shit and drinking wine. But then coming home and being like, no, I'm doing this to sell it and for production, like there's a big learning curve that happens.
I appreciate that you had wine. I was in like I was, you know, Parks and Rec.
Sure. No, that makes sense.
I was also like, I brought the average age down a lot.
Yeah. Yeah. But, and I feel the same way from when I started, but now going in and like kind of walking through the classes as they're happening, also, I'm always just like, I'm going to come an hour before class starts. Is that okay? Because I'm bringing like 20 things at a time. I don't want to like take up the table for glazing for everybody, but also just like, I'm just in and out of there. But anyway, going through the classes, there's a lot of young people doing it now. Like I think pottery has become a cool thing, which is cool.
I also feel like the ability to work from home and like, you know, my husband works from home. He can, you know.
Yeah.
He calendars off like when he eats lunch, right? And I'm like, I feel like you could calendar off that you're.
Oh no, we do the same thing for when my husband works from home. Yeah, no, totally blocks off a half an hour so he can eat. You know.
Yeah, but like, why couldn't you also block off time to go to the pottery studio?
Yeah, totally. I mean, it gives you so much flexibility. You're not commuting, which like for us gives us 3 hours back in the day. You know what I mean? So yeah, a lot more people have an opportunity to do cool stuff like take pottery classes.
The little thing.
I know.
I love it.
You almost have to go. We have a couple more minutes.
Almost have to go. I know. Well, because you know, my bangs are in my eyeballs, which is not super conducive to.
Tell me about it. I tried to throw with my hair down recently. I just like haven't been on my wheel like at all in like 2 months. And so like the first time back, I was like, what is happening? And I was like, oh, I didn't pull my hair back. Like step number 1, what am I thinking?
I always laugh. I don't know if you follow Hats by Terry, but she will occasionally throw with her hair down, and every time she does it, she'll be like,
I'm always like,
lump.
Yeah.
Lump of clay in her hair, and I'm like, I feel so seen. Someone else.
I also will pull hair out of my pots when I do that. I'm just like, whoops.
I pull hair out of my reclaim.
Oh yeah. Yeah. No. My hair never really stopped falling out after I had a kid, so.
Right. Well, I also just, my dog. I end up with like dog hair, which, you know.
I just pulled grass out of this water bucket. I don't know where it came from. Right before I got on, I was like, is that grass in there? knows?
That's hilarious. Yeah, well,
Stuff to show.
you have nature in your.
Yeah. Is it Robin? I think she just said her reclaim is 25% cat hair.
It's like extra texture.
Yeah. It'll all burn. It's kind of like paper clay, where you're like adding those paper fibers, but it's hair. So like it just makes it stronger, right? That's
I think it's great. I'm here for it.
I know.
Look, it can't be worse than anything that was added to clay when I was teaching.
Fair.
Like, I mean, yeah, what they used to add to stuff, I'd be like, oh.
Yeah.
Yeah. I tried reclaim when I was teaching, and that went about as well as you would think it would go.
Yeah.
In a room that was like a regular art room plus pottery.
Yeah.
With middle schoolers.
It's so funny.
So
what do you think is your next like big thing that you're gonna do?
I really am like hyping myself up that I'm gonna actually apply to like some of the more competitive art shows that are here.
Oh, nice. Yeah.
Which will happen over the summer. Florida is so backwards with when we have like art shows and everything. Like everyone else is like, it's season in like April, and I'm like, season is season has come to a distinct, humid, wet close.
Yeah.
But that I feel like that's going to be my next kind of like attempt. And I am also kind of concurrently trying to think about what it would look like to host some like workshops and things like that. Because I think it would be so fun to like have girls' night and build mugs and drink wine while you're doing it. And so figuring that kind of stuff out, I feel like is going to hopefully be the next sort of thing. But also as we enter the kindergarten era of our lives, which feels life changing. But yeah, what about you? What is your next big?
I am applying to markets for the year already, and like I already have one booked in November and a couple in like May and April. So I'm just starting to like
congratulations.
Thank you. Yeah, yesterday we had the meeting for the farmers market that I do because it's kind of like a vendor run situation. So that application will come out this week. So I'm really just like filling my schedule. And then once I kind of do that, then I need to start stockpiling, which is what I did last year. Is I spent the summer stockpiling bisque and working on Christmas, so that I did so many markets between October and December, which is why I've barely been on my wheel in like months. But it made it really easy because I could just kind of do what I need to do.
Yeah.
So there's that. And then like Saturday, I took a virtual workshop with Shalaya Marsh, I feel like her last name is, about making like screen printing your own underglaze transfers, which was like so cool. Obviously I spent like $300 on supplies as soon as it ended, because it's something I wanted to try for a long time. And I don't know if you follow Pink Kiss Pottery. I feel like I mentioned her during the last live that I did. She's in Baltimore. She uses the screen prints on a jelly plate and then will like roll her piece across it, which they also showed in this workshop. So I'm like really excited to try that stuff. And I also got an air pen at the end of last year because for like spending money for my taxes. IRS, if you see this, no, you didn't. But I downloaded yesterday. Melissa Maya has a new surface design. I downloaded that yesterday, and that has the air pen in it.
I'm very curious to hear what you think about the air pen.
Yeah,
that's something that I keep like eyeballing of.
I mean, I think it was cheaper than I thought it would be. I don't remember how much it was.
But that's also just so pottery of you to be like, it's cheaper than I thought it would be, because I mean,
I know. But also, like, I don't have an art background. Like, I have a music art background. So, like, I did not take art classes. I have no fundamentals in like drawing or anything. So I have a lot of grand ideas, but I can't execute them. So like this year, I really want to like put my head down and just like try a bunch of different surface designs because I have a lot of ideas, but I need to practice a lot.
I love it though. I'm excited to see what you do.
Yeah, I'm excited. I can't wait to, I maybe it's going to be a big fail, but I can't wait to try making my own screens. I think it's going to be really.
I actually feel, and if you have a Cricut that you use.
Yeah, I have a Silhouette, and I've had one for more than 12 years. Like I've been using this for a very long time. And well, I feel like I'm pretty well versed in it, but I'm totally self-taught. So even in this workshop I did Saturday, there was a bunch of like bonus content just about like basic how to use the program. And I was like, I didn't know that. This is amazing. Like I learned so many things about it. So like even if I feel like I'm like, you know, an expert or like good at something, I feel like there's still so much more to learn. So maybe I'm in like my taking workshops era, you know?
Feels like a good era to be in.
Yeah, definitely. Also, I'm just waiting for my reputation era, but I can be patient with that.
I feel like, aren't we all?
Totally. I know.
Yeah. Well, thanks for having me.
This was great. Thanks for coming on and chatting with me. Yeah.
Finally meet you.
Yeah, you too. I know. We'll have to come on again another time and chat. And next time I'll actually throw something at the wheel, but
maybe I'm like sitting here with all of my stuff.
I know. I'm on my wheel, like ready to go, but I'll do it after we hang out. Maybe I'll record it. Probably won't. It's so hard. It's so hard to remember to record everything.
Well, and I get very self-conscious when I'm recording. And then I'm like,
me too. Yeah. My phone is always like dirty because I'm like, you know.
Yeah. Have you gotten to the point where you're putting distilled water in the speaker and playing the special sounds to play out? Because that's where I am.
But that's hilarious.
That is the era that I am currently living in. And we debated getting me a new phone, and then we decided that would be $1,000 that we could just plunge directly into the reclaim bucket.
Yeah, no, I hear you. Yeah. Funny. All right, well, have a great haircut. I'll talk to you again soon. Thanks so much for coming on with me.
Bye.
Bye.